Right, I'd like to welcome everybody to Ironside Lunch and Learn. This week's Parashat is Parashat Devarim. It's the 5th book of the 5 books. The first 4 were given to us by Kadosh Baruch Hu. If you see over there, it says over there for the whole first book, Vaydaber Hashem Moshe Lemor, Vaydaber Hashem Moshe Lemor. The whole time, Hashem is talking. This book, Moshe is talking. This book, it starts, Ele hadevarim asher diber Moshe. These are the things that Moshe said. So very interesting. If you want to know where we are in time, right now Moshe is speaking on Rosh Chodesh Shvat, and in about 5 weeks he's going to die. In Zayin Adar. So right now this book, as he's starting to talk, is about 5 weeks away from passing away. And this is the part where he starts to talk to the Jewish nation. It's very ironic, if you remember, if you go back to Parashat Shemot, a couple of, 6 months ago when we're in the 2nd book, when Hashem approaches Moshe Rabbeinu and he tells him, I need you to be a leader. Come to the Jewish nation and I want you to lead them out of Egypt. What does Moshe say? Lo ish devarim anochi. He says, I'm not a man of words. I'm not a man that I don't have the qualities, or I don't have the power of speech to be this type of leader. Fast forward to Sefer Devarim. How does it start? Ele hadevarim asher diber Moshe. All of a sudden we see this transformation of a leader. He became a man of words. He was able to overcome his quote-unquote weakness, or the thing that he thought that would be his something that he wouldn't be able to excel in. And now you can see that he's even giving a full rebuke that a whole book, a whole sefer in the Chumash, Sefer Devarim, is spoken by him. Now, the words that he gave were calculated words. Moshe knew how to say the right things at the right time. He knew how to use the right words at the right time. And they were harsh words. The Sefer Devarim starts with a rebuke. In Hebrew it's called tochacha. It says, these are very strong words with very strong subject matters. And all his words, everything that he spoke about, were accepted. The Jewish people did not say one word back as some sort of resistance. They accepted everything that he said, which was due to his delivery. The way that he delivered his words made it easy for them to accept it. See, there's the art of the rebuke. There's a way to do tochacha. For example, what we see over here, I'll read the first pasuk just to give you a feel of what's going on over here. I'll catch you up. The last few parashiot, we were talking about the 42 journeys of the Jewish people in the desert. And after that was the whole fighting of Midian, the revenge war against Midian. And then we had also the Reuven, Gad, and Chatzi Menashe, the 2.5 tribes that wanted to stay on the other side of the Jordan. And on each one of those 42 journeys in the desert, it was mentioned what happened over there. Certain times the Jewish people were not behaving, they weren't acting properly, they weren't speaking properly. Many times there were plagues, there were deaths. So here we are in Sefer Devarim. This is Moshe's version of things. In other words, it's him giving the rebuke over here. And you see that he started to speak in hints. He did mention all 42 journeys, but he didn't use the same words. For example, the first pasuk reads like this. These are the words that Moshe spoke onto the nation of Israel. בערבה, מול סוף, בין פרן, ובין תופל, ולבן, וחצרות, ודי זהב. Every word that I just used over here corresponds to a place that they were in the desert, but yet, in last week's parasha, we don't see not one of those names of places getting mentioned. If I go right now to last week's parasha, I'm not going to find Di Zahav. I'm not going to find Tofel Velavan. I'm not going to find these places, but they correspond to something from last week's parasha. What's going on over here? See that Moshe over here, they don't want to call him out on what they did. They don't want to put it in their face. Remember over here what you did? Remember how you sinned? Remember how you did da'eged? Remember how you complained? He didn't come out with his guns blazing and, it's my last 5 weeks in office, I'm going to let you have it. What did he do? He gave him a tochacha beremez. They say, chacham beremez dover. A smart person speaks in hints, and he's able to get the point across. So what did he say? When he says, when you're by Suf, what's Suf? He says you're next to Yam Suf. You remember what happened over there when you were very lackadaisical in your service of Hashem and you started to complain. Velavan. What's Velavan? That corresponds to the man. He said the man, we know it had a color to it, like a see-through white color. Mm-hmm. So when he says Velavan, I remember when you complained that you didn't have food and Hashem gave you the man, and then you also complained that you can't eat man all the time, and He gave you the slav. Di Zahav. What's Di Zahav? Di Zahav, that's when you guys sing with da'eged. So you see, instead of saying the outright what it is, which causes people to have resistance, he said a word that hinted to it so they can understand, but yet not awaken sensitive feelings of a nation. We see a first example of Moshe's sensitivity to Am Yisrael and having the skill of how to say the right thing at the right time before Parashat Devarim. Remember when they first came out of Egypt, one of the first things that Moshe came to him and explained to them some of the mitzvot that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has in store for them, he gave them the laws of the Jewish slave, which would be so weird. They just finished being a slave, and now you're taking them, one of the first laws that you're telling them is, you know what, when you become a Jewish slave, these are the laws. What? I thought I just got out of being a slave. But what happens over there is when he was relaying to them the laws of the Jewish slave, he showed them how just, how right, how perfectly fair was the laws of the Jewish slave. How do you become a Jewish slave? For example, a person stole and he can't pay back. A person had some sort of debt and he can't pay back. So he said, you know what, I'll work for you. I'll become your slave in order to pay my debt. Or he was given that position until he gets out of it in a few years. So during that time, there's laws of how to treat a slave. He has to have clothes, he's got to be fed, he's got to have a pillow to sleep on, all these proper things. So just because they were just slaves, they can totally relate of what it's like to be a Jewish slave. So they can connect. He was able to tell them something that they can connect with. For example, if he was going to tell them now about something else about the Korbanot, they're like, what are you talking about? But the fact that they were just slaves, and he's talking about Jewish slaves, he was able to say the right thing at the right time. Same thing about Shabbat. Shabbat, he was telling them about how to relax. They can relate to that. So you see that he had a gift, how to say the right thing at the right time, even prior to this. Now, saying the right thing at the right time is something that we can learn from for our life. For example, Moshe, what's happening right now? We can learn a few life lessons from Moshe. When he found out that his time has come, that's it. He knew. Moshe, Kadosh Baruch Hu told him, you're going to go out and fight Midian. As soon as that war is over, you're going to wrap things up and we're going to give the power over to Yoshua. He's going to be the new leader and you're going to expire. You know what Moshe did the next day? He woke up early. He didn't hold back. He didn't say, you know what, okay, let's plan this out, let's have a meeting, let's think about things, what's going to be the plan of attack. He didn't prolong the situation so he could prolong his life. He went and he did God's will. He woke up early to do God's will. And he began to show us an example of when somebody's about to go, what is the right thing to do? And you see that Moshe did everything in a timely manner. He didn't dilly-dally. He went for it. He right away, as soon as he got it, he went to war. After he came back from war, he stood in front of the entire nation of Am Yisrael and started to tell them, The tochacha, but which way? Suavely, in hints, not so much to arouse sensitive feelings in them. He puts it in a way where he leaves no room for error, that no one can say. He also gathered them all in one shot, and he was very meticulous to say all the things that were necessary to be said. Whether it's the mitzvot that they have to get strengthened on, whether it's certain sins that they did in the past not to repeat. Why? So like that later on, nobody can say, had I been there, I would have told something to Moshe. He made sure that everybody was going to be there, and he made sure to say everything. So nobody can say, if I was there, I would have said something. Oh, he didn't mention this. Because he didn't mention this, then we should interpret it like this or like that. He left no stone unturned. He was able to touch every little thing before he was done in order not to create doubt. He also gave proper direction. He let the nation know what to do, and he also gave hope. It says over there at the end of the parasha, the last pasuk of the parasha, it says, Lo tira'um ki Hashem Elokechem hu nilcham lachem. He was telling them, you're about to go into Eretz Yisrael, you're going to get into these wars, you're going to get into all these situations. Don't be scared. Hashem is going to be the one that's fighting for you. He gave them hope. And you can see that the way he's carrying himself, it's like a sign for the ages of how every leader should act, or even every leader of a household should act, the father of a house. So, for example, God forbid, sometimes people fall ill and they become sick, and they know, the day's coming. A month, 2 months, 6 months, a year. Certain people, they brood. They close themselves up in a room, close the shades, and they're just waiting for the day to come. Certain men, what do? They say, okay, let's prepare. And they start. Some people do it before that they have this particular event, and they start. Last will and testament. What's going on? Okay, I have finances. What are we doing with the finances? I have properties. What are we doing with the properties? I have personal belongings. What am I doing with the personal belongings? How am I splitting it up between my family? Once I leave, I don't want division in the family. Once I leave, I don't want to have any sort of argument behind my siblings or my children. Because typically, there's crazy stories of people that did not prepare themselves for that day. And later on, families completely fell apart, and brothers and sisters stopped talking, and they spent more money in lawyers than in court than the value of what they were fighting over. Why? As a leader, the father of the house didn't set things straight. And by doing that, you see a person can have a head on his shoulders, and he can set things straight and set his family straight, and once he leaves, they'll appreciate it. Because once he's gone, he still acted as a father. And he was able to say that, this goes to him, this goes to her, and this belongs to him, this you sell, this you keep. And they're able to perform the last mitzvah of Kibud Av Va'em. They're able to do it by honoring their father's words. They are performing Kibud Av Va'em. Moshe Rabbeinu knows he's leaving. He's telling the whole nation of Israel what's the right thing to do. We can learn from that. Now, as we're learning how to set things into place ahead of time or before a certain period of time, this is all words. Moshe is doing this in a 5-week span. Why? Because 5 weeks is a nice amount of time to get the job done. He could have done it in a year. You know what happens in a year? People's minds change, people's feelings change. The Jewish people now, the Midrashim were saying that they didn't want to go to war. We know throughout the whole Chumash we see, they go against Moshe. Here's the water, here's the man. Why did you bring us over here? Why did you bring us into the desert? You should have left us in Egypt. This week's parasha, all the Darshanim, you know what they say? They said that they didn't want him to leave. They started to express their tremendous love for their leader. Don't go, Moshe. We don't want to go to war. Because if you go to war, that means you're going to have to, right after we finish the war, you're going to have to go. We don't want you to go. There was a tremendous amount of love of Am Yisrael to Moshe Rabbeinu. And he had a tremendous love for them. We see throughout the entire history in the desert, no matter what they did wrong, Moshe dropped and prayed and saved them again, over and over and over and over again. And we learn from him that on his last days that his rebuke was so suave, was so gentle. It was a very harsh rebuke, but he was able to relay it the right way. In life, us too, there's time where we have to rebuke the wife, the children, employees. There's a way to do it. What happens? You can be 100% right, and you can walk over to the person and use the wrong tone, the wrong language, and you lost. You lost the person. You lost your wife for the week or for the month or for the marriage. The children are tuned out. Your employee can't stand you. They're going to come every day to work and they're not going to be connected. Why? You didn't use the right words and you didn't do it at the right time. They say a person has an obligation from the Torah to give tochacha, to give a rebuke. Ben adam lechavero, ben adam lemakom. In other words, you see another fellow Jew. He's doing something wrong. It's your job to say, hey, you know what, according to Jewish law, what you're doing is not right. So there's two ways the guy can do it. He can blow you off, get out of here, my life, don't tell me what to do. Typical ego reaction. Or you can say it in a way where he says, Toda rabba achi, thank you my brother, for opening up my eyes, for letting me see things the right way. Sometimes a person is doing something that's not right in Hashem's eyes. You see the guy, tell him, listen, it's Shabbat, what are you doing? Come, stay by my house. Let me show you how Shabbat is. Come feel the difference. Come see. We could do what? Leave me alone. I don't keep Shabbat. That's my weekend. This is what I do. It's the only day off that I have. I want to enjoy it. Or you can say, you know what? Why not? Let me see how Shabbat is in your house. Maybe it'll turn me on. Maybe I'll tap into this magical day that everybody's talking about. There's a way to do it. And if you don't do it right, you lose the person. They say, if you don't know how to give the tochacha, don't do it. But you have to make an effort to find out what is the right way to do it. I'll give you an example. There's things that need to be get done in the house. You come to the wife and you want to tell her, ABC 1, 2, 3 needs to get done. The way you tell her totally determines how things are going to plan out. You could either suggest that things need to get done, you could either point out, or you can tell her, when I come home tonight, I want to clean home. When I come home tonight, I want all the paperwork done. Two different things. One way, you have a chance that she might do it because you had the right approach. The other way, guarantee that she's not going to do it. And not only that, you ruin the next few days, and now there's a wall. You built a little wall you're going to have to break before the next wave of things that need to get done come up again. It's an art. Tochacha is an art. You have to find out what's the right thing at the right time. And it all depends on people's personalities. There's a person that you can give him tochacha 24/7. And he'll take it. There's a guy that you have to wait for that specific moment in time. All the stars need to line up for you to say one thing. Give you an example, and with this I'll finish. I one time heard this beautiful example from Rabbi Dugi Shushan. It's a beautiful community in Brooklyn. And, it's one of these communities that there's just no talking in shul. Like it should be, There's some shuls you go over there, you don't hear the chazan. And the rabbi, just not to lose the crowd so they can come on Shabbat, or so they can support the shul, just doesn't say anything. Let them talk, at least they're in shul. But there's other shuls that don't tolerate speaking on Shabbat. Speaking in shul. So here we go. There's two guys speaking in the back of Rabbi Shushan's shul. He walks over to them, and he goes to one guy, pats him on the face, so good to see you. Moves away. A few minutes later, he goes to the guy that he was talking to. What are you doing? What are you doing? How dare you? How dare you speak in shul? So the guy that got yelled at said, Rabbi, we were both talking at the same time. He got velvet glove treatment. You patted his face. You kissed his cheek. Me? You're almost taking off your belt to let me, because of what? Because I spoke? We did the exact same sin. Why? He told him, why? Because this guy, I see him 2-3 times a year. And this guy, I have to be soft with him because that's the right approach. You, I see you every day, you know better. He knew what's the right words at the right time. And you know what? The one that he yelled with, he accepted that rebuke. He was right. Of course he knows better. I'm there every day. You know there's no talking in shul. The other guy doesn't know yet. Maybe in a little bit he'll get to know this on this concept and enlist it inside of him and live with it. So you can see saying the right thing at the right time, whether it's with your family, friends, employees, strangers, it's an art. Moshe Rabbeinu had it. And this week's parasha, we see it. Be'ezrat Hashem, we should all merit to have this character trait, this beautiful ofi of Moshe Rabbeinu, of tochacha, but tochacha beremez. Shabbat shalom.